Okay, I am just gonna make a down and dirty wine. Um, Not a whole lot to it, so let's get to it. 1 gallon carboy. Everything. Everything has been sanitized. Make sure you use, you wash it first, and then I use Easy Clean. There's Star San. There's all sorts of cleaning and sanitizing things to use. I'm not a sanitizing nut. It's alcohol. It's a it's normal for it to kill or starve out all of the other bacteria rather than the yeast. Um, this is just pretty much a down and dirty version. Anybody can do it. You can use what you have on hand. Any of the juice that you use, make sure it doesn't have any sulfites, sulfates, things like that. 100% juice. Um, this is natural grape juice. We've harvested, and I've extracted the juice out of it. This is pomegranate juice. I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try a grape pomegranate mix. 1 teaspoon of whatever yeast you have. Fleischmann's yeast, active yeast, is easy to come by. You can get it at all the stores that you want to. I'm using Red Star. It's what I have on hand. It's a Premier Blanc. It's not for red wine, but there again, you can use bread yeast if you want to, but you do want to hydrate the yeast before, and we'll get into that as I go along. 2.5 cups of sugar. Normally I use just regular white sugar. Just make sure it's 100% sugar, not beet sugar. I've just found that the beet sugar, it ferments fine, but it just has a little different flavor to me. I could be crazy, of course, which is altogether possible. Um, I have an S-lock. It's got sanitizing liquid in the water lock. You can use the triple locks. I prefer not to use anything that is, I mean, these are cheap. You can buy a whole bunch of them for not a lot of money. Get them on Amazon. You can go to a wine store. A lot of places carry them. Um, there's little lines on here. You fill it up to the lines, and that keeps that lets it off gas while it's fermenting. A regular um, rubber stopper. Okay, funnel works great. I do have a hydrometer. It's in the. I'll take an initial reading for the hydrometer reading, which this is going to be a sweet red wine, pretty much between like a dessert and a table wine. Okay, let's get into this. I'm going to hydrate I have a teaspoon of the Red Star. I'm just going to hydrate it. If you have chlorinated water, I would not use chlorinated water with anything that you're trying to ferment. It just hinders it a little bit. And like I said, everything has been sanitized. Except for a spoon. I'll sanitize it real quick. Just give it a stir. You just want to start hydrating the yeast. You're not using hot water. You're not boiling it. You just want to get it hydrated to start. A lot of people don't do this step. They just pour it into into the wine mixture, and it works. This just seems to work better. It gives you a better finished product. Okay, that goes back into the sanitizing liquid, and we are going to start. Like I said, this is grape juice that has been harvested by us. It's I know there's nothing in it because there's nothing in it because we harvested it. Okay. Now you want to Now you want to introduce some oxygen into it. You don't want to start with no oxygen in your mixture. Now you don't want to over oxygenate it. You're not going to over oxygenate it just by shaking it up, but that introduces oxygen into the liquid. That way it can start. Ooh, you have to be careful because it does start to gas up. Okay. Now this is 2.5 cups of sugar. You know, I know that sounds like a lot, but there's a science to this. You can use any type of juice that you want to use. And yes, my hands have been sanitized too, so. There again, everybody's going to be screaming, oh, you have to sanitize everything all the time. There again, it's alcohol. It's a natural sanitizer anyway, so I'm not too worried about growing things you shouldn't be growing. Now, I'm not saying it can't happen, because it can. You can get some other strains going on in the mixture. If you ever have black flecks, dump the mixture out. You probably don't want the black mold that's growing on it. I've never had anything like that, but doesn't mean it can't happen. So we're going to shake up the mixture again with the sugar in it. And now for the pomegranate. This is just what I had laying around in the refrigerator. Don't know how good it's going to be. I think it's going to be just fine though. The pomegranate will add a little tartness to the grape juice. I'm not going to have quite a gallon. Okay, sorry about that. I thought I'd started the video. I did. Give it another shake. I don't want to go too much above the shoulder of the gallon jug. I thought this yeast was really dormant, and I just made a 5-gallon batch of elderberry and cherry wine, and it is definitely not dead. It was bubbling up quite nicely. So we're going to add the yeast. I'm going to give this another little swirl. I'm not shaking it real hard now. I'm just trying to get the yeast and have a good mixture. I mean, you can see how much there's a bright foam line, but then there's a lighter line underneath it. Okay. Now, people do it differently. A lot of people will take a hydrometer reading before they even put the yeast in, but the yeast just got put in, so I normally don't worry too much about a hydrometer reading as far as the yeast being in it. Now, a lot of people will also say, well, you really need to use a wine thief or a turkey baster. I just be very careful. Okay. Now, see what our specific gravity is on the 0.92. So the pomegranate really dropped that down, which is fine. So it's got a potential of about roughly 10-11%. A lot of people were like, oh, no, don't do that. Don't pour it back in. I like my wine, so I'm going to pour it back in. Everything's been sanitized, so there again, all the sanitization people that are freaking out right now, yes, everything's been sanitized. Make sure your stopper is dry whenever you go to put it in the last time, just so you can get a good seal on it. Make sure it's on the lines. Put it in a dark, cool place. In about 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks, this will be ready. You can do this with any juice you can find. If you want to do, you can do like a cider with the same, pretty much the same principle. I probably wouldn't put as much sugar in it, but this will take about between 2 to 3 weeks. I would put it in the refrigerator after it's done fermenting. I'm not real worried about pasteurizing it, and I don't know if I will even get it out of the bottle. I'll probably just screw a lid on the top and put it in the refrigerator so I can enjoy it. All right, that's all I have for you today. Have a good day.